How many atoms do you think there are in a single grain of sand? 100? 1,000? A million? A billion? 43 quintillion, which is about the same as Lurpak at the moment in the shops with inflation. Sorry, I'm a dad, I had to. To give you some context of how many that is, there are more atoms in a single grain of sand than there are grains of sand on Earth, by a magnitude of 3. How on earth have these atoms come together because of every single molecular change that's happened since the dawn of time in a very particular way to make us, you and I? Not just to make us, but to make us these conscious, sentient beings. I know we're very focused on the how. From a philosophical level, why has that happened? What's the purpose of that? And I've been thinking about it for years, and 5 days ago, something gave me the answer. And I want to talk to you about that. But like I said, it's all fiction. It's all fiction. I know what you're thinking. You don't have all the answers. You just found an interesting fact on Google about sand and now think you're fucking Moses. Oh yeah! I do have the answers, and I'm about to tell you what they are. Before I do that, I need to introduce you to somebody. Around 3 weeks ago, we packed the kids in the car and drove a few hours from our house in Bath to Hemel Hempstead. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, where in the name of sweet Lord Jesus Christ is Hemel Hempstead, Stef? That could be literally anywhere. How about you shower me with some sweet context, you sexy boy? Okay, well, calm down. Let's not get excited about the location of Hemel Hempstead. It's about here, if you must know, just north of London. Anyway, we made this pilgrimage to buy something that we're hoping will make us far better content creators. So we've been making content now for about 10 years. And I think we've got a couple more years left in us, but only if we make some big changes. And this is one of the big changes.
So yeah, this is it. So
what do you think of the new camper then, G? What do you think we should call it?
I think we should call it Gamer Boy.
Gamer Boy?
Yeah.
We can't call the camper Gamer Boy.
Yeah, we can.
That's the worst name for a camper van I've ever heard.
This is our new VW camper. It's a conversion, so an old van that somebody converted for us. Unfortunately, it's got gears. I hate driving with gears. I'm not like one of those purist people who think driving cars with gears makes you more connected to the engine. I just think it's fucking awkward. We got a fridge in there, a bit of cupboard space there. That's where the water tank goes. We've got the sink in here. We got a cooker under there. Got some cupboard space in there for keeping like cushions and pillows and stuff like that. I've got a little table here. I can also pop out and connect to here. That goes there. And now I've got a nice little table. I can put you there.
What about the daddy wagon? Oh no, let's not do that. No way.
This should hopefully give us access to far more of the UK and Europe, because that's what we want to do. We want to go out there and get far more kind of travel-based content.
We need a name for it though, like a cool name.
Doomslayer.
The Doomslayer? Oh, you're such a 9-year-old, aren't you? Anyway, G, I found enlightenment, and I'm trying to talk about that on a video, so we need to stop having this conversation so we can go back to me talking about finding enlightenment. What the f***? Last Friday, 24 of us all sat in a circle in a yoga studio. And in the middle of the yoga studio, there was a shrine. And on the shrine, there were things like crystals and, skulls and flowers and offerings. And there was a few musicians there. There were some guides there. And everyone got handed a cup. And in that cup was 5 milligrams of psychedelics. And each one of us, before we knocked it back, shared our intentions, what our intentions were from this experience. And mine was I felt like I lost my way a bit, especially creatively. I felt like I just lost that spark of creativity. It just went, and I was like, I want to feel creative again. So my intention was to get my creativity back and to find my path again. I feel like I've just been lost. But most of the people there were sort of in their sort of 30s and above, and they were psychotherapists, there were doctors, there were teachers, all sorts of people in the room, all of them wanting to expand their consciousness. So we all sat there, we shared our intentions, we knocked back the tea, and then they started to play some drums. I was looking at my hand and I was waiting for something to change, and I was closing my eyes, and I started to kind of see these visions of fractal patterns and shapes, and then the music started, like they started playing guitars over the drums, and then all of a sudden my reality had just shifted, and I was so compelled by it because I was thinking, this is so interesting that my brain is doing this. This is me doing this. This is my projection. And it took me, I'd say, about an hour to realize or to come to the conclusion that this was not me. what was happening in this experience, in this psychedelic experience, was not me. I was simply observing something that was absolutely overjoyed that it was experiencing consciousness through me. There are a few things in physics that they just can't explain. There's things like why 85% of the universe is made up of dark matter, and they don't know what it is because it's not measurable. The random number generator that shows that there's synchronicity in these random numbers when big, huge life events happen, the theory being that there's a global consciousness that we all share. But also just our consciousness, the fact that we are conscious sentient conscious beings is a bit of a mystery. They can't figure out why what consciousness actually is. But whatever this thing was experiencing, through the help of this fucking mushroom, that's what really blows my mind. It's just a bloody bit of fungus coming out the ground. For a mushroom, something had come through me and was experiencing consciousness and was so in love with this, was so compelled by it. It was seeing my reality through me and just being overwhelmed by it. And it just loved being conscious. It's almost like you have access to this unbounded field of awareness, this universal frequency, which we don't normally feel. I think people who meditate maybe feel it. People who pray maybe would feel it or could tap into it. But it just gives you direct access to this thing. And this thing that gives you access to it, this is what always. I'll keep going back to this because it just blows my mind that it's not something we've synthesized in a lab. It's something that literally is just a fungus. Mycelium. It's just a bloody mushroom that grows up from the ground that we can just mix in a bit of tea and then have access to something which is just profoundly life-changing. It has made such a fundamental difference to me, and such a fundamental difference. Like Hannah's calling me now Mushroom Stef because I'm a different guy. I came back from that theoretical experience that never actually happened, a different, changed man, changed in a way that I would imagine like 10 years of therapy would have changed me, but just in one night.
Some people come out of these sessions as participants and say that, 1 6-hour experience with psilocybin is like 1,000 hours of therapy.
As somebody who'd always considered himself a nihilist with a deterministic view on the universe, to now have this, to have that blown out of the water. Basically, the night happens in chapters. Like you'll go through various chapters in the evening. Some of it will be, just whatever this thing is, this consciousness being awoken within you, just being charmed by the music. And off that charmed entity, there are entrails that come off. And in those entrails are all those things, that magic that you need, like the advice and the guidance and the theories and the help and the healing. Come off those entrails of this thing being so spellbound by experiencing existence via your consciousness.
Psychedelics are the only drug class that I know of where you have not just one or two, but lots of stories of people saying they took this thing one time and they say it had this profound impact on the course of their entire life.
There's this saying, we are the universe experiencing itself having an existential crisis. You may have heard that a few times. I always thought that. I was like, oh yeah, I think that. I don't think that anymore. I feel that in every fibre of my being. I feel that from a cellular level now. And then it told me that every single action and reaction has to be seen, every atom has to be seen through a prism of love. We owe it to ourselves, to the universe, to this process of consciousness, being conscious beings, to see everything through a prism of love. It's all part of a divine path. And it also gave me a lot of help in terms of like what I came for, the creativity side of things, because I said to it like, I want to feel creative again. And it was like, oh, here you go. And then just literally showed me this oasis. It was like ideas and inspiration just everywhere, just as far as I could see. Since I've got back, I've been opening up old scripts and rewriting old kind of video ideas and been planning and scheming about different things that I could do and ideas that I could create. And I've just got that creative energy back that I lost. It's just all back. And I'm like, wow. And it has made me a far better dad, and it's made me a far better husband. Now, I don't necessarily think this is right for everybody. People have problems with schizophrenia. People might have, this has to be the sort of therapy that is done with a lot of respect. You have to go into it knowing that it's going to make some fundamental changes, and it can be scary for some people who are for the first time stepping out of their own sort of interpretation of reality and being shown another version of reality that they couldn't even comprehend existed. So there is that. The problem is with magic mushrooms, they're seen as almost like a party drug, which is such a shame because that's not what they are. They're a beautiful, healing, natural, medicinal, therapeutic thing that you can do to really help with some issues that you have. Like, it's been shown to make fundamental difference to people who are repeat offenders or alcoholics or people with post-traumatic stress disorder, and there are countless studies on that.
An international study has shown that a hallucinogenic drug which is found in magic mushrooms is helpful to patients suffering from depression.
It needs to be talked about more. It needs to be normalised because it's something that can make fundamental differences to people's lives once they've tapped into this thing, this universal field of consciousness. You and I have created matter, energy, consciousness, space, time. We created that. We were given a blank canvas and we created everything. We created it as an offering, as the most divine offering we could possibly create. I mean, imagine that. Imagine creating a universe for someone, a universe for a thing, as an offering, as a way to show our gratitude. That's now what I feel that it's all for. So in summary, what I've got from this experience, from this theoretical experience that definitely didn't happen 5 days ago, was that we are all part of a greater thing. We all have a divine purpose. But yeah, going back to what I said, this is all because of a fucking mushroom. A bloody mushroom. That's almost what's so beautiful about it. It's just a simple mushroom that can unlock all of this. Almost at the end of the experience, there's a bit where it goes through like almost like the healing chapter, and it's like, so what do you want? And it gave me that Garden of Eden of ideas and inspiration, which I wanted. But then I was kind of like, yeah, thanks, that's kind of all I wanted. And then it was like, oh, by the way, and started giving me all these other kind of bits of advice. It was like, stop playing the Xbox. And I was like, what do you mean? I got the new Call of Duty. I love that game. It's like, no more playing that. You don't play that anymore. I haven't picked it up. Not that I haven't picked it up, I haven't wanted to pick it up. I haven't even had the urge to, like I normally would. You're taking your wife for granted too much. And I was like, oh God, I've been with Hannah for 10 years. Once you've been with somebody for that amount of time, it's easy to take that person for granted. It's easy to forget how much they mean to you. And it said to me, you need to stop taking her for granted and be more present with your kids. And I was like, fuck, okay. And then when I came out of it in the morning, I had this longing to get back to my family. Like, they take away your phones, and I just want to get my phone back to call Hannah and be like, I love you, I can't wait to see you. And I've come back a reformed guy. I've come back a completely different guy. A completely different guy. Like, yeah. Yeah. I'm just so profoundly grateful. I'm so profoundly grateful to whatever the fuck this thing was. Because, yeah, it feels like it's changed everything. Everything, my whole outlook has been shifted in such a profound way. And I just wish I could give this to all of the heads of state, all of the prime ministers and presidents and dictators in the world. I wish I could all give them a mushroom experience, and a guided mushroom experience, because the world would be a completely different place. A completely different place. Thanks for listening to a middle-aged man ramble on about his psychedelic experience, theoretical psychedelic experience that never happened 5 days ago. But yeah, I appreciate you being here, and I'm looking forward to reading your comments. Enjoy the rest of your day. I love you loads.